All right, how are you guys doing this morning? Let me know if you can hear me, and we will get off to a start right away. In the comments, what's happening? First, it was 9, then 9:10. Well, oh, 10, well, 10:10 your time. Katie, you're too kind. You can't rush greatness. Well, as oftentimes I run behind and I want to make sure I do the morning prayers, so it takes me a little bit extra time. Okay, so today this is a very special day because Catherine was supposed to come on to the show on June 13th, and then she moved it to June 23rd. And that's why I did that first dating show on, or sorry, May 23rd. That's why I did that first dating show on May 23rd. But I thought, you know what? A lot of people wrote in, a lot of people had great comments. The comment section under the video was extremely lively, and I hope the comment section under this video will also be extremely lively. So I thought, you know what? We got to do another video on the dating crisis, but this time offer more solutions because again, I was flooded with messages after that video from young men, from young women, from whomever saying, you really got it down, but maybe these are ways that I would say you need to add to it. These are the things I wanted to see you address. And so I'm here to do that today, hopefully. So if you have not yet watched that first video on the dating crisis, I strongly advise that you go and watch that video after this because I'm going to be referring back to that video at various points. And if you think that I'm missing anything in this video by the end of it, in the comment section, put in there what you agree with, what you disagree with, where you think I need to improve in terms of this topic. And if you have really compelling arguments in your comment, I'll interact with them. In fact, I might even put them into a new video or make a video about it. Okay. Now, I am not going to spend much time talking about the women for three reasons. Okay. One, the only men women listen to are their fathers, their husbands, and oftentimes our parish priests. And if those men are not going to do it, there's not a whole lot that I can offer in terms of solutions. And it really is important that parish priests talk about this issue because right now all of the onus is falling on men. The men need to do this and men need to do that with very little, like, hey, the women need to clean up their act quite a bit. There's this attitude that everything a man has done in the past matters, but nothing a woman has done in the past matters. And that attitude needs to be slaughtered on the altar of stupidity. The second reason is that if women are not formed correctly and taught to respect themselves by their fathers from an early age, um, there's not a whole lot we can do for them later in life. They tend to just be very warped. So, good women are formed by strong fathers. There's no way around that. It's just how it is. And that doesn't necessarily solve the situation now, but it does hopefully give us hope for the future. And the third reason I'm not going to spend much time talking about the women is that what I'm trying what I'm trying to explain to you is how to get a woman who's actual marriage material. I'm not telling you that you need to put on the hazmat suit and go in and marry the reform party girl. No, I'm trying to tell you, okay, look, if you're a guy who you've kept yourself pure, you're looking for a woman who's kept herself pure, this is how you're going to actually get someone who's like that. It's very important. Now, due to the convert surge, there are far more single guys in parishes than there are single women. And statistically, it's really like the bottom 25% of those guys, maybe even bottom third of those guys, are just never going to find a woman in the church. That's how it is. That's a reality. So as a guy, you have to be competitive to get those good women who are in the church. The other thing is that when you go into any ethnic church, and I've been a member of two major Greek churches on the West Coast, St. Demetrius in Seattle, St. John the Baptist in Las Vegas, Nevada. I also attended an OCA parish, St. Spiridon's in Seattle. That was a cute little parish. And then St. Paul's up in Briar. I've also visited Briar, Washington. I've also visited many parishes. And what I can tell you is that yeah, you do have a lot more convert men coming in, but you also have a lot of ethnic women in these parishes because the ethnic men typically don't show up to church. And we'll talk about how you can sort of approach those women in a bit because I have a lot of experience with the ethnics. Okay. The issue is that the women I meet who, because a lot of women come to me and they go, well, do you know any guys? A lot of guys come to me, do you know any women? And the guys have this attitude that the only options for me are the Reformed Party girl. And that's not true. That's a very small sliver of women in the church, I think, of the single women in the church. And then the women, they have this attitude of I want to get married, but these guys are extremely shy. They click together, they sit together at coffee hour, they don't interact. They seem to not even realize that I exist. One girl was telling me that at the young adults group, which is really people in their 20s, the guys gather together and they just ignore that the females exist. It's like, we all went out to a dinner. Um, it's kind of funny. It's the guys are saying there are no women, and then they're presented with women, and they clam up all of a sudden. So what I'm going to present to you are things that 2 generations ago they would have been baked into your upbringing. You would have known this stuff growing up. You would not have to be told it. And part of that is also because a lot of the time now guys are only children or they have, say, one sibling. There's a 50% chance that one sibling is a brother. So they don't grow up around women. They don't grow up interacting with women. They don't grow up understanding how women behave, how they think, and how to work around that and work with them. I was very lucky because I have 3 sisters and 2 stepsisters. So I have 5 sisters total. Um, but I'm going to try and share some of the wisdom that was passed down to me and then things that I have learned. I think a lot of the stuff is gonna come off to you guys as odd because in the lack of actual experience with women, and I've noticed this especially among, like, guys 30 and under, there's this attempt to sort of reconstruct masculinity that's really odd, and it seems to hyper focus on trappings of what these guys think is masculinity. So it's very much there's a lot of emphasis on, say, like, going to the gym, which, okay, that's good, but there's this hyper focus on, of all weird things, smoking cigars. I don't know why you guys have honed in on that as a thing about masculinity. It's really weird, but, um, we're gonna start out here with we're gonna go through about 10 points. Okay, the first point, and this is something that can help you guys out a lot, is this: you need to make friends with women with whom you have absolutely no romantic interest whatsoever. You guys need to make friends with women because you're going to learn to talk to women. You're going to learn how they think. You're going to learn how they experience the world. And it's going to become natural to you. You're going to use these girls as sort of conversation practice. You're going to learn to work around women, so to say. And, guys go, "Well, I don't wanna get friend zoned." It's like, well, I've been friend zoned lots of times, and then one of those women who I became friends with, I married. And, being friend zoned is just it's the cost of doing business, so to say. So, getting friend zoned is fine because you're learning how to be friends with a woman and how to set emotional boundaries with women, how not to get sucked into their bullshit antics because women have a lot of that stuff, and they have far more antics than you can imagine. And you're going to learn how they think and they act. The other thing is that, I mean, as a guy, guys go, well, women aren't very interesting friends. It's like, yeah, but who you marry, you need to be friends with because, when you're 65 years old, and you don't have a prostate anymore and sexuality is no longer a part of your marriage, you got to be friends with this person you're married to. And so friendship is really the basis of a marriage. And Are women interesting in the sense that they like to talk about detailed topics? Not really. But you need to appreciate women for who they are and what they are. And I think this is also very important because a lot of young men I meet are really resentful and really angry towards women. And I can see exactly why. They've been raised in what's basically just it's a gynetocracy. They've had female teachers who really don't like boys. These boys have been shunned. They've been demonized, especially if they're white, heavily demonized by the system. And so they have really every right to not like being around women. The problem is that if you want to get married, you have to put that away. You have to put away that resentment and, look at the woman you're talking to as she is, as a human being. This is extremely important. Okay. Oops. The other issue is get your attention span up. This is so important. You guys have the shortest attention spans of anyone I have ever met. And it is extremely agitating to talk to you guys, like extremely agitating. So here's a story for you. A few days ago, I was at Home Depot and I was loading up all the stuff to my into my truck. This guy who's about 18 or 19 was helping me, and he saw, as he was helping me load the stuff in, he saw it in a bag. I had a gym bag and, said judo on the side. And he goes, "Oh, you do judo?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, where do you do it?" And I told him, and he just immediately starts going off about a UFC fight that he saw. And I go, "I don't really watch UFC." And then he starts talking about like some other UFC fight. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "Well, do you think I should do jujitsu?" And I go, "Yeah, I think it's great. You should." And then he just starts going off about like how he likes TikTok reels about jujitsu. And I'm like, okay, none of this is a consistent conversation. None of it is like traceable. It's all just like random thoughts firing at different times that he's spitting out, not interacting with anything that I'm saying. And I find that the guys that I meet in the church, they don't really have this problem so much because they have an attention span long enough that they can sit through a 90 to 110-minute long service. So their attention span has gotten it's built up and built up. But for a lot of the guys coming into the church, especially younger Gen Z and the older Gen Alpha, I mean, your guys' attention span is absolute dog shit. You have to fix that. And the only way you're gonna fix that is just deleting all your social media. I mean, get off TikTok. That stuff is complete brain rot. That's just it destroys your attention span. And if you have a really high IQ, let's say you have an embarrassingly high IQ, but you have a short attention span, you're retarded. There's not a whole lot of hope for you. I mean, imagine a computer that had a super fast processor, had all the great things about it, but its battery life was 2 minutes. That's a worthless computer. Well, it's the same thing. Even if you have a really high IQ, if you have a short attention span, you're effectively retarded. And why is it important for relationships to get your attention span up? The reason is that women have really long, rambling stories that include a tremendous amount of extraneous details. So they can't just tell you they got into a car accident. They have to tell you that they were at the salon and they were getting their hair done to look like this one lady who they know from work. And then they're going to rabbit trail off about the lady at work and how, they were really excited about it and they had this great conversation with the woman at the salon. And then when they were leaving, they thought they'd forgotten their keys, so they went back in. And you're just thinking, how does any of this have to do with anything? Whereas they could have just said, yeah, I was leaving the salon, I was on Eastern, and I got rear-ended by someone going 15 miles an hour. Everyone's okay. We exchanged information. No, it turns into this long, like, sort of emotional tour through all of the events leading up to the getting rear-ended at, 15 miles an hour on Eastern Avenue. You have to have a long attention span and just sort of, just let her go through all the info, not necessarily take it seriously, but just sort of filter it. Like, "Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, your hair looks great. Looks amazing." Meanwhile, you're thinking like, how much is this gonna cost me?" But you have to get that attention span up. And that will come with one, just getting rid of your social media. And I know this is really hypocritical of me because, I have X, I have Facebook, I have YouTube. I think I have a Gab account that I rarely use because that place is dead. Um, I have trying to think of what else I have, and I use those. The difference is that I'm able to tune out of those, um, and I'm able to just use them productively. But a lot of people are heavily addicted to these. In fact, I regularly fantasize about deleting my X account and my Facebook. Um, oh god, it'd be great just never having to open one of those again. I will say the memes on X are absolutely fantastic, absolutely solid memes. So, one, make friends with women to whom you're not at all romantically attracted to. You're not attracted to. And the reason for this is also that if you're not attracted to them, there's less pressure involved in talking to them because a lot of guys have a hard time talking to women and they feel like, well, women just kind of like they just look straight through me. And it's like, well, yeah, women do. That's what they do. They have like in the same way that a penguin can be dropped anywhere in the world and they have this homing device for finding their way back home. Women have this homing device for confidence. They can just and they tend to confuse it with cockiness, but they can just smell it. Just phew, they go straight towards it. That's why they tend to fall for narcissistic sociopaths. They can't tell the difference between cockiness and confidence. But yeah, they look straight through you. Well, if you're attracted to them, you already feel a little bit like uneasy. How am I going to approach her? How is she going to, receive me? If you just talk to women you're not attracted to, the pressure is off. The pressure is really off. And then you can just learn to talk to a woman. And we're going to get into what you talk about later on in this video because you guys have no clue how to have conversations with women, or a lot of you guys have no clue at all. Okay. So, one, make friends with women whom you're not attracted to. Okay. Maybe just acquaintances. Okay. You don't have to like hang out with just her specifically. No, I mean, in a group of friends, see her at church, just say hi. Women can usually tell when you're like not into them, when you're just being friendly enough. And just, play that. Just be friendly towards them. Okay. The other is get your attention span up. This is key. Again, you could have a really great computer that has all the amazing processor, tons of RAM, etc. But if the battery life is only 2 minutes on that, it's worthless. So, your attention span is that battery life. The third thing is you have to be an interesting person. This is so important. So, so, so important. And what I find is that, and I mentioned this in the last video, most of you are really dull people. And I wouldn't say that you're intrinsically boring people. No. I think you guys have a lot of potential. I would say that you are dulled as opposed to, I should say you are dulled, ED. You are flattened as opposed to being dull or flat in and of yourselves. You guys have a tremendous amount of potential to be interesting people, but you've been taught again and again that, nothing is interesting about you. And I know that sounds funny because I just said you guys are not interesting people. But when I get to know a lot of you guys, you are interesting people, but you don't know how to talk about it. You feel shy talking about yourselves. But if you're talking to women, women want to get to know you. They want to know who you are. And sure, as a human being, you are, your body, you're a soul that's created by God. Okay, let's set the metaphysics aside. When you are talking to a woman, you as a person, in her eyes, are effectively the sum total of your experiences. So the way you become an interesting person is by having interesting experiences. What are those interesting experiences? Okay. It is not talking about Thomism versus essence and energies. Okay. Being interesting does not consist of knowing the difference between a hypostatic and an energetic filioque. Being interesting does not consist in talking about ancient history. I'm guilty of that. Being interesting does not consist of talking about linguistics. Being interesting does not consist in talking about your D&D character. Being interesting does not consist in talking about your car. Okay, you have to find something that women like and then link it to something personal. So it's one thing to talk about China on a factual level. It's another thing to tell someone, "Oh, yeah, I lived in the Canton for 3.5 months." "Oh, really? What was that like?" "Oh, the food was phenomenal. I taught English there." "Oh, what were the students like?" "Well, the students were they're little kids, they were kindergartners. I tried to get a job as a high school teacher there, but then I got shoved into a kindergarten first grade, so I made the most of it." And oh, really? It's fairly humid area, so you go out in the afternoon, you'd exercise. Notice how personal that is. It's about my experience. Women want to hear your experience of those things, not you talking about those things. And this is a huge problem that you guys have. You talk about things that are not like real, tangible in front of you. Women wanna hear you talk about they wanna hear about you as a person. Um, you guys are more interested in talking about these things and not about you. You need to learn to talk about you or relate things to you, and then also get her to talk about her. So, be an interesting person and, get these interesting experiences. This is another reason why I tell people, go teach English in Cambodia. They go, "Well, I don't have the money for that." I didn't have the money to go teach English either. I saved up enough to get there, and then I'd supplemented my income by teaching. And that's all teaching English is. It's just travel junkies funding their travel addiction. There's nothing more than that. None of these people go in there, they're like, "I want to teach English to these." No. They're like, "I want to travel and oh, I just ran out of money. Okay, I need to need to get a job." Why Cambodia? Because it's cheap, it's an easy place, people are easy to talk to there. They're very friendly. Try the Republic of Georgia. It's a beautiful mountainous nation. If you have a bachelor's degree, it's really easy to go teaching in a lot of these places. I know a lot of people want to go teach in Europe. If you're not an EU citizen, you're locked out. Forget about that one. Maybe your interesting experience is that every Saturday or 2 Saturdays a month, you go rock climbing with friends, right? That's something I want to try. I've never done rock climbing before. But I was thinking I would grab my daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, and her and I would go do it as a father-daughter activity. Maybe people said try bouldering. That's a lot easier. If you have advice for someone who wants to get into rock climbing, has never done it before, please put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay. But, women are like most people. They want to be entertained. So why would they hang out with someone boring? You have to be an interesting person in order to entertain people, and women wanna be entertained. You wanna be I mean, men go, "Well, I wanna be entertained too." It's like, "Well, yeah, but you're getting entertained through, she looks pretty." That's what really matters to most men. She's attractive, and she's not, like, terribly boring, so, yeah, that's alright, it's fine, is the attitude most men have, but women don't have that. They go, "Well, okay, sure, he's a good-looking guy, but he's really boring. How am I gonna have a conversation with this guy?" So again, to most women, you are the sum total of your experiences. And you need to be able to talk about those experiences and personalize it. Make yourself a real person in front of them, not just this like, um, I I like video games. It's like, no, no. So again, don't talk about video games. Don't talk about D&D. Don't talk about theology. Women are not interested in theology. Actually, I know one woman who is actually really interested in theology, and that was Catherine. Um, they're not interested in ecclesiology. They're not interested in any of this stuff. They're interested in the personal experience, the personal side. Okay. Um, the fourth thing, and this is extremely important, you guys' lives are way too easy. I mean, they're way too easy, and it's really damaged you. So yes, it is hard to get a job, and yes, the marriage prospects look really bad. But none of us are worried about running out of food. None of us have seen 2 of our 6 siblings die of childhood diseases. Um, None of us have spent huge portions of our life clearing rocks out of fields so that we can grow grain, because otherwise we'll starve to death. None of us have had to wake up at 5 in the morning and milk cows during a blizzard and, follow a rope between the house and the barn during the blizzard so we don't get lost. Um, None of us lived through the Dust Bowl. None of us lived through the Great Depression or war. Most of us have never been shipped off to fight in a war. I remember when I was growing up, we had this old guy at a parish, Raymond was his name. He was this cranky dude. He's very short. His hearing was shot. And it turned out he had been a war hero. He had landed on the beaches of Normandy and took out 2 pillboxes with a bazooka, got wounded, passed out, and got pulled off the beach, woke up in a field hospital. A couple months later, turned 19 in northern France. I mean, how many 18, 19-year-olds could do that now? I couldn't have when I was 18 or 19, forget it. So we've had very easy lives, and it's not been good for us. It's been detrimental for us. It's made us soft. It's made us fairly useless people. And now you say, "Well, you don't know how hard it is for Gen Z." And I go, "Well, how do you know it wasn't harder for millennials?" They go, "Well, so then they wanna go into statistics. Look at how hard it is for Gen Z." So I looked up some statistics, and actually at age 28, according to Redfin at least, more Gen Z own homes than millennials. Sure, Gen Z have a little bit more college debt than millennials. I think adjusted for inflation is about 13 more. Um, But, in terms of, like, credit card debt, auto loan debt, student loan debt, homeownership, Gen Z and millennials are right about the same places, at age, 28, 27, where millennials were at 20, it's about the same. So, millennials, we also have it really hard too. 2008 meltdown. That was so bad, I just picked up and left the country. I was not gonna stick around for that. I came back in 2013, and the economy was still really bad. I mean, yeah, the economy is bad now. It's, we're I think we're honestly going through another 2008, and we don't see it. It's not allowed for us to see because, you gotta keep the stock market high because it has this illusion of doing well. But by other metrics, in terms of how many, people are looking for work and they're not getting it, um, I think we're in another 2008, and I think we have been for a while. One of the things I occasionally do is I call up the union in Seattle and I see how many guys are laid off. And right now, they have about 1,000 guys laid off. And they've had about 1,000 guys laid off for about 2 years. And prior to those 2 years, the only time they had 1,000 guys laid off was during the 2008 to really 2013 financial crisis. So yeah, there are hard things about life, but ultimately we have it fairly easy. Um, the source of your troubles is the screen time addiction, and that leads to a lack of real world relationships. What you guys need are real world relationships. This is not really a loneliness crisis so much as an isolation crisis. You guys are isolated, and it's easy to be isolated. It's easy to not have to interact with people who are slightly different than you. It's less stressful. It's less effort. You know, but it's that screen time addiction leads you guys to shun in-person relationships, which then stunts your interpersonal skills. And it's interpersonal skills that you use to form friendships. Well, you get a whole generation of people who are just, stunted in terms of interpersonal skills. It's really hard to make friends with people your own age. So you need to look to people a little bit older than you who have interpersonal skills. And I can only imagine it getting worse with Gen Alpha, the generation right after Gen Z. Um, And the other issue is you guys had Gen X parents who just never protected you from the world around you. It's just, here's an iPhone with unfettered internet access. Here you go. I was a latchkey kid. We're resilient. You'll find your way. Oh, my 14-year-old is addicted to hardcore adult content. Oh, well, he'll find his way just like I did. Latchkey kid, resilient. It's like, that's not how you raise kids. And Gen X thinks that they did. That was how you should. The other thing is that because you guys have a lack of real world relationships, you tend to have a lot of anxiety because when you have relationships with people, you feel loved, you feel like you fit in, you feel like you have people who you can depend on. And that tremendously reduces your anxiety, not just 10 or 20%, but 80, 90%. It cuts it down. Well, you guys don't have these relationships. Why? Because you don't have social skills. Why? Because you're addicted to screens. So again, the best thing you can do is just delete all your apps. I mean, maybe you need to download an app that doesn't just limit the time, but just bars you from even accessing things like TikTok, which is just the worst thing ever for your brain. If you cannot listen to long form podcasts, just in peace. If you're, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people listening to this right now, they're on Discord. They have something, you have this playing, but they might have, lo-fi playing in the background. They're totally distracted. And again, you guys are this computer that's a really great computer, but has a 2-minute battery life. It's useless. Um, so, you really need difficulties in life in order to be a man. And that's what women are looking for. They're looking for a man. They're looking for someone who's sort of battle tested. By battle, I mean like real life experiences. What I find so often is that you guys just get shut down by the anxiety. It cripples you before you even get out to do things. It's absolutely heartbreaking watching it too. Now, previous generations benefited from grandparents and parents who had the mentality of having lived a really difficult life. And for Gen Z, even your grandparents have lived really easy lives. I mean, the benefit that I had was I had grandparents who had grown up during the Depression, right? They raised my parents. My parents, they were boomers, sure. They were fun boomers, but their attitude was, they were raised by people who'd lived through the Depression and through the wars. And so they had a much more like, all right, just get over it. Like it's great that you're sad, but everyone's sad. So, join the club. Whereas now you guys just have generation after generation of people have lived easy life, easy life, easy life, easy life. And you see it, even in millennials, it's like, whoa, the ease of life. I mean, millennials are the poster children for the woke movement. What is woke? It's people who don't have real problems to fix. So they start inventing problems. So again, having difficult things to do, it makes you more of a man. It builds up character. Zack Ceselli, who on my other channel, Near Orthodox Christianity, he did a show, and I'll link it in the video description. And one thing he forgot, or I forgot to ask him about during the show, but he and I have talked about elsewhere, is that he takes cold showers every day. So why do you take cold showers? And he goes, "To add some hardship into my life, because life is so easy. You gotta do something to make your life hard." Wow, that's a good point. So he takes cold showers because it's not comfortable, it's not fun. I don't like it, but I do like the effects of it. And the effects, of course, being that it's some suffering. It's something difficult that you have to do, that you have to get up, man up, jump in that shower. And I've done it. I mean, I'm not as tough as Zach where I can do an 8, 9-minute cold shower, but I can jump in there and do like 30 seconds of cold while I shout. I'm like, oh, kind of wimpy. I'm sorry. The other thing is, and I can't say this enough, get into the dojo. I don't want any excuses. Get in that dojo. You got to wrestle around. You got to learn how to fight your way out of chokes. You got to learn how to do rolls. You got to, get hurt. You got to, I mean, you guys got to get hurt. You got to do things that are dangerous. You got to do things that are scary in order to build you up. You know, people go, well, I'm afraid of doing a jujitsu or judo. Okay, look, in judo, look, this finger right here. If you look at it, I broke my pinky doing judo. Okay. I also sprained my AC doing judo. I also sprained this AC joint doing judo, bruised my tailbone, and got a minor concussion. That was in 1 year. That's not that bad, but it's something that you can do that's hard. It's tough. It puts you through difficult times. That's really important. The other thing, get a construction job. Get a job like doing actual real like construction, not just remodels, but like building buildings. Get a job, like when I was in the union, we'd be on these jobs. It was 34 degrees out in Seattle, 2 blocks off the water, and you're on the 38th floor and there's no walls on the building. It was miserable. As February, it was miserable. You do several winters like that and it toughens you up. But you need difficult things that really build you up if you are going to be a man. So let's go through these really quickly. We have the first thing is you need to make friends with women to whom you're not attracted, simply so that you can get the experience of being friends with women, how women behave, how they talk, etc. You need to get your attention span up. You have to. You guys are effectively a really great computer with a 2-minute battery life. The computer is useless. The other, be an interesting person because women they want to have a conversation with you. They want to get to know you. So you have to be someone who's interesting. You have to have experiences that make you interesting to them. What is interesting? Don't talk about theology. Don't talk about history. Don't talk about linguistics. Don't talk about D&D or video games. Okay, talk about your experiences. Just do things that give you interesting experiences. Okay, and your life is far too easy. Okay, I'm going to start looking through here and see what we got for comments. Okay. Ubi, your debate with Eric back in the day helped me cement my faith when I was moving off Catholicism. Enjoying your interviews. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you also for that Canadian $5, which with the way the US has been deflating our money, that's I think the same as 5 American bucks now. I've also seen your channel, Patristic Clips. I like it. It's a good channel. Check out his channel, Patristics_clips. Some good stuff on there. I recognize the picture right away. Okay, what else we got here? Porphyry, friend zone attention span. Go, 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 go. Porphyry, thank you for that $5. Very kind of you. What else we got here? We got $5 from Shane Morgan, 1801. Thank you so much. Can you better explain some of the concepts brought up in Deacon Seraphim's interview with Pearl? I actually did not watch that interview at all. One, because I can't stand Pearl Davis. I think she's an annoying grifter. I mean, and anyone who says a sub mid cannot do well in life has not seen Pearl Davis's channel. But I don't find her very interesting. And Deacon Seraphim, I've listened to some of his content and he seems like a nice guy, but from the little bit that I did hear of that interview, he just seems like he's worn out. And I guess he's had some really bad health problems that have left him really worn out. So I really can't speak much about that. If you could comment on what those might be, then yeah. If you could say what those points are, then maybe I could address them. Okay. All right, cool. The other thing that you guys really need to work on, conversation skills, 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 conversation skills. You guys really need to work on that stuff. I mean, really need to work on that, which is why I'm gonna host something. I have this idea, and I need people who are in Las Vegas who can do this in person. You don't have to be an Orthodox Christian, you can be anyone, but what I need is a guy, and I need a female, preferably a female who's mid or higher. I don't want an ugly one, no one fat. I need you guys to come in, and I'm basically gonna coach you guys on how to have conversations. Now, the reason I wanna bring a female in is because you guys, what you do is whenever you, interact with a female or when you rather don't interact with a female, but when you try to, you just completely clam up. You just shut down. It's like, "Okay, I'm gonna coach you on how to talk to people." Because your issue isn't it's not just that you don't know how to talk to women, it's that you don't know how to talk to people. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty good at talking to people. I'm a pretty good conversationalist. And if you think I'm not, it's because I'm not interested in having a conversation with you. That's why I don't exhibit those conversation skills with you. That's why I just shut it down right away. I'm not interested in hearing you tell the same story for the seventh time. But you know, I can help you guys out. We just do it on live stream. And I would basically go, okay, look, you need to lean in more. You know, you know, ask her like, ask her if she which animal she likes. I don't know, something. You get a conversation going. Do something. I think it would be really, really funny. So if you are in the Las Vegas area, um, yeah, I'd love to have you on for a live stream show in which I teach you how to have conversations. And if I could do a couple of these a month, or maybe do it as a series where I get the same person coming on repeatedly so we can track progress, that'd be really great. But I don't want people who are good at having conversations to come on. I want people who are like awkward Gen Z, socially retarded to come on, because not only will that be significantly funnier, but also we can then track your progress in this. So here's the deal with conversation skills. Conversation is an art form, and by that standard, most of you are not artistic at all. I'm going to say it again. It's the screen times. It's not interacting with people in real life. It's Gen Z parents who just let you, fed you to the wolves right away. And by the way, or sorry, Gen X parents who threw you to the wolves. And by the way, if there's one thing I've noticed, is that Gen X, like, they do not like their kids. They really don't. Like, I like my kids. I think they're hilarious. I think they're very insightful. I enjoy tremendously spending time with my 2 kids. I've just noticed in general that millennials tend to enjoy spending time with their kids in a weird way, or not in a weird way, but in a sort of like, kind of a loving way. And millennials they see their kids as like little friends. Whereas Gen X were just like, dude, I got kids. Oh, this is really getting in the way of my life. I don't know why I had kids. Like, that's Gen X. There's this video called "The Most Gen X Man in the World." And if I can hunt it down, I'll put it in the video description. It's an AI video, and it's based off of the Dos Equis videos, which, the most interesting man in the world. Well, this video, it starts out with this guy going, um, I have a daughter, and she has a website that is only for her fans. And then he like takes a sip of beer. Most Gen X thing ever, right there. Having a daughter on OF. Kill myself. Oh wait, I can't say that. I gotta bleep that out. Okay. Um, the other thing, you are not autistic. You're just lazy. You really are not autistic. I've met autistic before, and that is really difficult for parents to have kids who are autistic. I don't think it's something to make light of. You guys are just lazy. You don't want to put the effort into building social skills, building conversation skills. That's what's going on. You're too lazy to want to fight against your anxiety, and anxiety is something that has to be conquered. I say this as someone who, during my teens, I was absolutely crippled by anxiety. It was awful. I have really bad seasonal affective disorder, and I grew up in Seattle. I mean, that should tell you something. I understand the thought process of thought loops that you get into where you have the idea, it tortures you, you then work through it logically, you feel okay, and then the thought comes right back. And there's really only a few ways that you can work through that. We'll get to that later. But you guys, you're not autistic, you're just lazy. You got to fight against the anxiety that you have about social interactions to get out and actually try to interact with people. That's really important, is that I see you guys when I've worked with some of you before and I've gotten you sort of out of your shells. You guys do have interesting things to say. You do have social skills. They're just really in their infancy. They were never grown. And you can grow them. You can grow them well. If you can get a customer service job. I mean, someone commented in the last video. I can't remember if it was in the live stream chat or in the comments below. They said operating a drive-through will get you out of your shell. It's like, yeah, it's going to be hell for the first week. And then you're gonna be like, "Okay, I got this under control." And you're gonna notice that your personality comes out more, and then you start to make more friends outside of work. You start to make friends, real friends outside of work. That's what you guys need, is interacting with strangers again and again and just getting down the rote method of a conversation. Because again, it's Ford, right? Friends, occupation, recreation, dreams. Or frog, someone else put this in. Friends, recreation, occupation, goals. I like frog. I like Kermit the Frog. I thought it was cool. But frog or Ford, whatever, friends, recreation, occupation, goals, or dreams. That's how you run a conversation. You focus on those. If you know, or sorry, not. I'm sorry, not. F is not friends. It's family. Sorry, family, recreation, occupation, goals. We'll say friends or family, but if you can't get someone talking about their family life, what about their occupation? What do they do? If you can't get them talking about that, move on to what do they do for fun. If you can't get to that, go on to goals. And if you can't get any of those four, you're talking to a rock. Even Gen Z women, as unfriendly as they are, I interact with them regularly and I can get them talking very quickly, very, very quickly. You just have to know the spots to hit. Um, and it's Gen Z women are basically just emotionally or sort of personality wise, they're just a flatter version of millennial women. Millennials are very bubbly, very happy. They really want you to hear exactly what they're going to say. Millennials are not like hearing this about themselves, but millennials are extremely dogmatic people. Um, they like to think they're open minded. Millennials are not. Millennials are very dogmatic, very black and white people. And so if you take Gen Z, if you take a millennial, just flatten that personality, you basically have Gen Z women right there. That's them. Women are the same. This is how they are. Um, so going back to conversation skills, don't talk about things, talk about yourself and experiences you've had. They can look up on Wikipedia or on Encyclopedia Britannica, or if they're really dumb, Chat GPT, information about Spain. They can look up information about rock climbing, but they can't look up information about your time in Spain or your experience in rock climbing or why you enjoy mountain biking a couple times a month or what you get out of watercolor painting. I don't know. I mean, I'm not artistic. So, I mean, think of something artistic. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you trim bonsai tree. I mean, that's not a very interesting hobby, but like, maybe you do gardening for fun and you really enjoy it. And that hour a day that you do it, it's like talk about why you enjoy that. Make it personal. Okay. Um, ask her, that woman, about herself and experiences that she's had. Um, Women love attention. They say they don't, but they love attention. Never ever believe what women tell you about what they want and don't want. They don't know what they want and don't want. Women love attention, and they feel the most attention when they're asked to talk about themselves. Okay, so they love attention and they feel the most attention when they're asked to talk about themselves because suddenly they're showcased, they're treated as special. They love it. This is the key to getting women to like being around you, which eventually leads to them liking you. Okay, which then might lead to them being romantically inclined towards you. And that is get them to talk about themselves. When you talk about yourself, typically relate it to them. With a men, conversation is 50-50. With men, with women, it's like 70-30. 70% her talking, 30% you, and then about half that 30% is about you as it relates to her. So when she mentions, "Oh, I really enjoy, I don't know, going and seeing shows." "Oh, yeah, I do too, actually. I just saw such and such a show. Have you been to that one?" Okay, it's you're talking about what you've done as it relates to her. Yeah, that's a really big point. Okay. The other thing is that males scan conversations for data and information, um, and they want to use this data and this information in other settings. But women scan conversations for opportunities to show empathy. Empathy specifically in the form of showing concern without solutions. Okay, so they're not interested in hearing solutions to easily fixable problems that are causing them stress. Women basically bond over complaining, um, but doing the logical thing, that would be offering solutions or fixing the easily fixable issue, that kills the mood for them. So that they're not interested in the solution of, like their alternator died. They're interested in you sympathizing with them over the stress that they feel over the alternator dying. If you fix it, yeah, it's cool. But did you show empathy over her frustration? Like, that's what really matters, right? Did you go, "Oh my gosh, it died. Oh, that's so stressful. I'm so sorry. I hate when that happens." And she goes, "I know, and da da da." And you go, "So frustrating. I'm really sorry you have to deal with that." And she goes, "Da da 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 da," and tells you more about it. And you go, "Oh, that must be so stressful." Okay. It's all about showing empathy, like bonding over empathy. And this is what you guys got to do with women. It's really agitating because for women, the solution is not the solution, okay? The solution is not fixing the problem they're complaining about. The solution is showing empathy with them about the problem that they're never going to fix. If you change your paradigm and go, "Okay, the solution she wants is experiencing empathy," or if she's excited, me being excited with her, if she's sad, me showing sorrow with her. If that's the solution, and the solution is not fixing the problem that she's showing sorrow or concern or worry about, well, that changes how you talk to women. And so the more you can show empathy with them, that you can show co-suffering with them, that you can show co-excitement with them about things, the more that they'll want to be around you. I mean, listen to conversations women have with one another. It's all about validating one another's emotions. Now, you don't have to agree with them on things. You just have to show that you feel sorrow with them, you feel concern with them, you feel worry with them. That's all. And, I have a very low tank for that. I mean, you guys will go, "Well, I don't want a woman like that." Okay, bye-bye. Done. You're not gonna find a woman. Or maybe you'll find an autistic one, but this is how women are. And I have a very low tank, a very low reserve tank for showing empathy without offering solutions. And that reserve tank is usually completely spent by about 10 a.m. each morning because I live with 3 women, and I go to work and I slowly build it up, and when I come home, I have just enough to get me through most of the evening, and so I have to save up that reserve tank to use it on the 3 women I'm related to, my wife and my 2 daughters. I don't have enough to spend on other people, and this is why I come off as very, like, gruff, at times when talking to women. I don't have this doesn't come naturally to people. You have to build it up, you have to work on it, you have to develop the skill, and, it's definitely a skill listen without offering solutions and pretend that you're really worried about something that you really don't care about. But anyway, okay. Um, but again, if you are a guy or a girl, you're in Las Vegas, you want to improve your conversation skills, contact me, ubipetrus2019 at gmail.com. It'll be in the video description. Contact me. And I'd be interested. I'll do a live stream with you. We'll sit right here at this table behind me. And if I can get a guy and a girl, that'd be great. And just teach you guys how to have conversations. And again, it's not about talking to women, it's about talking to people. The reason why I wanna get you in front of females is because you guys tend to clam up in front of women. So if I can put you in a situation that you find already very awkward, it gives better opportunity for me to help you guys learn how to have conversations. Okay. Okay, let's go here. Man, I'm wondering if StreamYard could make this any. Here we go. All right. Swinters07, $5. Thanks, buddy. If wanting to be an electrician, would you recommend a 3 to 5 year apprenticeship program, or is there a different, better pathway? I mean, I think that's pretty much the only pathway. I think that really is the only pathways. You have to go through, you know, I think that's pretty much it. Okay. Thank you for $5, by the way. $5, Simeon Roban. Step one, talk to women. Personally, I'm better at the Athos approach, jokes aside. Spiritual question. What is a ritual to end a sacramental marriage? Uh, you know, I'm actually not too sure. I think it's just a civil divorce is what ends it. And the church just simply allows you to marry again. I think that's what it is. I've heard people say like Father Stephen DeYoung says this, we don't allow second marriages. We penance a second one. It's like that's not the language that's used in the patristics. The language that's used in patristics is about the marriage is dissolved, is what they say. Saint Cyril of Alexandria specifically states that adultery dissolves the marriage. Okay, let's see what else we got here. $10. J. I think it's short for Jägermeister Schuler. Great name. Thank you. It seems like Gen Xers took on every bad trait about boomers, but ended up as a cheap Timu copy. Yeah, it is odd. It's just yeah. Okay, what else we got here? Is there a way I can just sort out the super chats? I'd love to take all your questions. I appreciate all of them. The thing though is I don't have enough time to do anything, so I just prioritize the super chats. Okay. Let's see here. How do I hide current comment? Okay. In that last live stream on dating, I accidentally left up the comment about miscegenation and started going off about another topic. And if like an hour, this comment is miscegenation a sin. Okay. So let's go back through these. And I'm going back through these so you can really internalize them. Okay. You need to make friends with women with whom you're not attracted. You just get just hang around women. It's going to be awkward. You got to do it. There's no other way to get into a relationship other than knowing how women act. And the only way you're going to know that how they act is by experience it. The only way you can experience is by being around them a lot. The thing that really screws you guys over is that you have so little interaction with women that you don't know how it's like, but for a lot of you, your sole knowledge of women seems to come from online interactions with other dudes who have screenshot horror stories from other guys that seem to largely revolve around online dating profiles and women being complete horoscopes. It's really not a good situation that you guys are in because you're not interacting with real women. And when you interact with real women, you tend to realize like, oh, not only are they not something to be afraid of, but they're very fearful creatures. And when you interact with real women, you realize that women have very low self-esteems, extremely low self-esteems. They're extremely self-conscious. They're nothing to be afraid of at all. I mean, if you guys think you have low self-esteems, whew, wait until you get to know women. I mean, they are broken inside. Um, so anyway, you need to make friends with women with whom you have absolutely no romantic interest so that you can get practice interacting with women, and learn to appreciate women and not be resentful or angry towards them. Okay, that's really important. Okay. The other, get your attention span up. I mean, it doesn't take much to get an attention span like your guys' is up. Some of you have really great attention spans. I'm not talking to you. Okay. I don't think I need to define again what a generalization is. I don't think we have that many women watching right now. But again, a generalization does not mean every single one. It just means a general tendency. It means the largest group within a larger group, right? Within a category, the largest group. Okay. So one, you need to make friends with women to whom you have absolutely no romantic interest. Get your attention span up. Be an interesting person. Your life is too easy. Do things that make your life like actually physically in front of you difficult, like with difficult objectives in front of you that you have to overcome. Simply, well, I can't get a job, it's hard. Yeah, okay, lots of generations have dealt with that. I mean, I came out of university right around 2008 and I had to deal with that. I just picked up and left the country. And then I had to go get jobs in foreign countries. Okay. You didn't grow I mean, then people think the 50s were this golden age. We had 4 recessions. 4 recessions between 1945 and 1959. It was a very hard time. When you talk to people who grew up in the 50s, and that group is rapidly disappearing. I grew up around a lot of these people. When you talk to people who grew up in the 50s, they don't remember it as this golden age time where people had big houses and a car and no, that's the propaganda from the 50s. What they recall is 4 kids and 2 parents in a 2-bedroom apartment on the 7th floor, no elevator, hardly any money. Their dad taking a bus to his factory job in the winter because his bricklaying job had shut down for the winter in Chicago. They recall not having a fridge. They recall being poor. When you talk to people who grew up in the 50s, for the most part, they recall being poor. My dad's mom, she's in her 80s, she goes, "Yeah, we had my dad and my mom, and then we had my dad's mom living with us, and then my dad's sister, who was an old maid, living with us. Then there were the 3 girls, and then we rented out a room in the house to, this one lady, I forget what her name is." It's like, "Oh, okay, this is." Her dad was a plumber pipe fitter. He had to work in the winter. It was her dad would fix, like, toasters and, like, blenders and stuff because they couldn't afford a new one. I mean, you guys think your life is hard because the economy is slow. I mean, we're returning to what's been normal. The economy of the late '60s, '70s, '80s, '90s, that was the anomaly in history. That was the anomaly. What we're returning to is normal. Get used to it. Is it right? No. Is it what's going on? Yeah. Okay. Conversation skills, conversation skills, conversation skills. You gotta do it. Okay. All right. Get your anxiety under control. This is the 6th thing. You guys have to get your anxiety under control. And you go, well, I can't. Okay. I think a lot of you guys have light PTSD because you tend to look at situations that you're in as existential crises. You tend to view everything as a battle between good and evil, and a lot is a battle between good and evil. But you guys break into camps way too easily without nuance. Case in point, how I see you guys look at dating and females. Just very quickly, it's broken into this like all women are horoscopes. They'll just cheat on you. They'll divorce you, take everything. I'm like, I've known a lot of people in my life, and I've probably only known about 10 marriages that fell apart because of adultery. And I've seen a lot of divorces, and believe me, in a divorce, like anything that they can bring out. they'll bring out to screw the other person over. I mean, I was talking to a guy recently who's like, "Well, I don't wanna, like, I don't wanna say anything bad about my ex-wife, but, I just don't wanna say," and within, like, a minute and a half, he's like, "She cheated on me." And I'm like, "Okay, what was this you don't wanna say anything bad?" Again, in divorces, people will say whatever they can to crap on their ex, and even with that, I've probably only known about 10 women who have cheated. I've only known of, and that's even guys who I know him years after the fact. It's not that common by the time you get to marriage stage. And this idea even that it is that now it's so much different, I don't believe that. Read canon law. Notice how many times it talks about what to do with an adulterous wife. Those canons were not created because women weren't cheating on their husbands. No, those canons were created because women cheating on their husbands was a large enough issue that councils of bishops had to specifically address what to do repeatedly. So female adultery is nothing new. It's probably about the same as it's always been. Okay. Okay. So get your anxiety under control. You guys look 8 to 10 years older than you really are. It's not that I look good for 42, it's that I look good compared to Gen Z. Just saying, okay? If I was a Gen Z woman, I would not have the entitlement that they have because the 25-year-olds look 35. That anxiety is eating you guys alive. It's absolutely destroying you. And, anxious people do not like to be around other anxious people. This is extremely important to know. If you're anxious and you're around anxious people, you guys tend to just work on each other and get each other more and more anxious. It's similar to like when you meet like a Jew who marries a Gentile, the Jew tends to calm down and be more like reasonable. When two Jews marry each other, they just tend to get really, oh my God, you got to spend money. Like they get more and more like worked up. They just continually work each other up, right? It's the same with people who are anxious. You get two anxious people together or a group of anxious people, you just get each other more and more and more and more and more anxious. Well, do confident people want to be around someone who's anxious? Not really. No one wants to be around someone who's anxious. So you guys have to get your anxiety under control. So what are ways you can get your anxiety under control? You're not going to do it being on a Discord server. Delete your Discord. Delete it. Oh, but I have friends there. Yeah, that's your problem is that your friends are online. Delete it. You have to force yourself into a position where you have to make friends in person. You need to you need to get rid of every access you have that allows you to not make friends in person, okay? So delete your Discord, delete your X, delete your Facebook, delete all these things. You keep your YouTube, okay? You probably want that to listen to music. You probably have it because you have a Gmail account automatically anyway. Um, stop this bullshit texting each other constantly. I mean, I do it because Las Vegas has horrible reception, and I just tend to do text to talk or talk to text, but, y you know, I see these people, like, they text each other for hours at a time. I'm just pick up the phone. "Well, I'm too anxious to." Okay, that's a problem. You need to start talking to people to get, like, real interactions with other people. It's extremely important. So, delete all the things that allow you to not interact with people in person because having relationships, it lowers your anxiety. It lowers it not just 10 or 20%, but like 90%. Having friends, having family, people you feel you can count on, okay? To make exercise a daily routine. I mean, get those 10, 15-pound dumbbells. Maybe you're not very strong, maybe 10-pound dumbbells, okay? And just start. Maybe it's really light weights and just, 100 times, just, do curls. I don't know. Do as many push-ups as you can a few times a day. Um, maybe you're not strong at all. And so you got to start really low there. Maybe you're already strong. Get the 30, 40-pound dumbbell. Okay. But, go to the park, do pull-ups, do something, make exercise part of your daily routine, 20, 30 minutes of it. You will feel much better. The other thing, the more you're on screens, the more anxious you are. So just get in the habit of turning off your phone, not looking at it for the first hour of every day. I relish the days when I don't have to use my phone. I really do. I keep fantasizing about a situation wherein I don't require a smartphone for work, where I can just have a flip phone. But no matter how I cut it, it's just impossible because of my work situation. So get off screens, make exercise a daily part of your routine or part of your daily routine. Um, if you don't have time to exercise, you don't have time to go on social media. Look at it that way. Um, you guys are dopamine deprived and you're constantly spun up. And the, even try and get rid of like television and radio, just have silence. This will help center you. And at first, it's going to feel really eerie, but it's going to feel refreshing. Then you're going to feel nervous about doing it because what if someone needs to get a hold of me? It's like, it's fine. Don't wait until 11 at night to do it. Try and do it in the middle of the day. Make yourself inaccessible. Just turn off your phone, turn off the television, turn off the radio. Don't check your email. Just be, maybe leave your phone at home and go for a walk. Maybe it's an hour-long walk. Whenever you guys have the urge to pull out your phone, because I've seen guys do this, like talking to women, and like, they'll be in a group and the guy just pulls his phone out. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, oh, he just needs a dopamine hit, is what it is. It's like, oof. Talk about a way to tell people, like, I'm not interested. Pull out your phone. Even if you're in a group of people, just start looking at like social media. So, what are you looking at? Oh, just looking at whatever. It's like, it's not important. You're not running a business where you have to be in touch with people constantly. Forget it. No, you're a 22-year-old with anxiety. You can turn off your phone. Maybe, like maybe you're at a restaurant. So this is something I do when I'm out with, say, like my kids, and they have to go to the bathroom. I'll sit in the booth and I won't pull out my phone, and I'll just sit quietly until they come back. It's little things like that that you do repeatedly that reset you. And you have to start looking at silence and being at complete rest as getting things done. Like in the same, I mean, we think of sleep as getting in the way of things. Okay, sure. But if you start to look at sleep as getting something done, repairing your body, okay. If you start to look at time without screens, so including television, that's a screen, without screens, without radio, and you're just, no, I mean, just imagine you're in like the year 1900. If you do that several times throughout the day, just take these opportunities. The person you're with goes to use the bathroom and you just sit silently. Those little things add up and they refresh you. And they are sort of mental sleep. You need to be bored. Your brain actually requires you to be bored in order to process emotions. You guys never allow yourselves to be bored. So, well, who could I text now to get a dopamine hit? Most of your friends are not interesting people anyway, so you're not missing much. I don't know about you. I have interesting friends though, but from my experience with Gen Z, most of you guys, the ones of you that are interesting, it takes a lot to coax that out of you. So, you know, and that's the other thing is that people go, well, I have to do something. I have to send an email. I have to do whatever. It's like when you whip that phone out, you're not getting anything important done. You're doom scrolling. If you have something serious to get done, you'll get on a laptop and you'll hammer it out. It's not worth it. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here. We got Chase Haggard Music. Hey, buddy, how you doing? It's good for single men to hang with married friends. It's an easy way for them to practice having normal conversation. Yeah, 100%. You also need to see how married couples interact. There's this sort of like odd, uh, like caricature that you guys have of married life, where like I was listening to this channel, Lungs of Faith. He seems like a nice guy, but he made this comment that was just like, God, this is tone deaf, and that was these men couldn't even smoke a cigar in their own home. And I'm like, what? Like, you got to be considerate. And this is part of this caricature that you guys have set up that seems oddly enough to really hyper focus on cigar smoking. I don't get it. It's just, to me, cigar smoking is just performative masculinity. But it's you guys need to be around married couples to see what real married life is. Like a guy called me after the last live stream. He said, I got so much out of it. He goes, I'm mentoring some of these younger guys. I have them in a group. And what can I do to help these guys further? Because whenever we talk about married life, these guys kind of tune out and they want to change it to debates they've watched. These are 28-year-old guys who've never had a girlfriend, which is incredibly common, unfortunately. So, okay, well, here's why. If you know right away, they want to talk about debates. They don't want to hear about another person's experience and show empathy. That you guys have cooled down your emotions to the point where you show laughter and anger. That's a symptom of growing up with addicts. When you don't feel safe showing actual emotions, except humor and anger, because humor, you're diffusing stress. Anger, you're in control. Okay. Feeling safe, only showing anger and humor is one of the symptoms of growing up with alcoholics. Why do you think they say the Irish are funny people with bad tempers? It's a culture of alcoholism. So you guys only feel safe showing humor and anger, but showing any empathy towards other people, you're like dead fish. And this guy said, he goes, we have several guys in the group who their wives are pregnant. And this guy's in his 30s, and he goes, we start to talk about this and how touchy it can be being married to a pregnant woman or having your wife pregnant, and these guys just tune out. He goes, what do I do? It's like, okay, well, there you go. They can't empathize. They've learned to shut down empathy. Okay, they've learned to shut down interest in other people because that would involve empathy. No. Okay, so I go, invite one of these guys over for coffee, not at Starbucks, not wherever. Invite him over, sit on your front porch, and let him be there and see what real married life is. Don't have a cookout so that your wife can clean up, because women are great at turning off the crazy for 2 hours so that they look like they're sane people. While a guest is over. Invite him over so that he can hear the wife arguing with the kids, so that he can see the 2-year-old who took the diaper off, left it on the couch, is walking around the house with shit on their butt. Have him over so that he can hear the kids bickering. This is real married life. This is real. And you go, well, maybe now, but not in the 50s. Dude, I grew up with people who grew up in the 50s. Those were my grandparents. The chaos that went on in those homes was surreal. You guys got to stop believing the government propaganda from the 1950s. It's not real. But yeah, hanging out with married people is extremely important. It shows you real married life. It shows you how men who have been able to make it work interact with women. And women are not easy to get along with. Women are difficult. And I'm going to die on that hill too. Women are difficult. Okay. And thank you, Chase, for the $5 or the $5 there. To thee we sing. Currently learning ancient Greek because of you. Didn't know it would be this easy. Thank you. Thank you for the $10. Yeah, ancient Greek is not that hard. People think Latin is easier. They think that because the vocabulary is really easy and it's easy up front. But Greek, you kind of like have to jump in and waist deep in the cold and just get used to it. And then you're like, oh, this isn't so bad. Latin, you slowly go into it and that just gets harder and harder. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. So maybe the difficulty in Latin is more so the expectation that it'll just be easy. But, Greek is great. And by the way, I'm teaching Greek and Latin on Patreon and YouTube memberships. You're free to jump into the classes. Right now, I think we're about to begin chapter 6 in Athanase, volume 1. And then that's in Greek, and in Latin, we're in chapter 9 of Familia Romana by Orberg. Syriac, we're in chapter 5. I'm also looking to, if you guys are interested, I was looking to teach Coptic as well, if anyone is. Sahidic Coptic. This is basically the Greek or the Egyptian that ruled in Ptolemaic Egypt. So it's the Greek that you would have encountered really in Christian Egypt for most of the first millennium. But it's really interesting. If you're interested in biblical studies, this is a great language to know, because how they translate the Greek of the New Testament into Coptic reveals how they understood the Greek text. Okay. And then Syriac, I'm teaching from this one. Great book here. Okay. If anyone's interested in Coptic, I'm also thinking about opening up Levantine Arabic because a lot of people come and say, "Hey, I want to." I'm in Antiochian parish. Half of it is Arabs. How do I learn Arabic? I'm like, okay. Well, I lived in the Middle East for 4.5 years. I'm married to an Arab. Okay, studied Arabic for quite a while, so I could teach you guys basically Levantine dialect, which is what people actually speak. Probably the Jerusalem dialect. I ordered the books. I don't know if they'll get in. They have to be shipped from Bethlehem. But anyway, if you're interested, let me know. Okay. I'd probably be autumn before I'd start if I can get enough people who are committed. Okay. $5 pseudo pilled. When you say making friends with women, does that include hanging out with them alone? I mean, if you have to, sure. But if you're just at like a coffee shop, that's fine. The goal with women, you guys are there's this emphasis on like, well, how do you ask a woman out on a date if you don't ask her the right way? It's like you can ask a woman out on a date the right way, and she's gonna say no because you're not a guy she'd want to go on a date with. You got to be the kind of guy she'd want to date, and then you don't ask her, "Hey, would you like to go on a date with me?" You make it much more soft and non-stressful for them. You have to get to know them first because if you just cold approach a woman, she's like, "What do I know about you? Who are you?" I mean, imagine some dude at the store is talking to you. He's like, "Hey, you want to go hang out wherever?" And you're just like, as opposed to, "Hey, I'm going to this event on Friday that's open and there's gonna be a lot of people there." Well, okay, there's a lot less pressure. So if you can hang out in groups of people, they get to know you, and then over time you go, "By the way, would you like to go get coffee right now? We have about half an hour." And that they slowly acclimate to you and they feel more and more comfortable with you. And the more comfortable a woman feels with you, the more likely she is to say yes when you ask her out on a date. Okay. Wow. $20. Bingo Foxtrot. Great content, brother. May these young men take your advice to heart and practice. Only if it's good advice. Thank you so much, Bingo Foxtrot. I appreciate that tremendously. You guys are killing it with the super chats today. And oh, geez, why do I do this every time? Okay. Let's see. Let's go through. Okay. $10. Great vid. Thanks, Ubi. I applied a lot of these tips in my 4 years being Orthodox. Night and day difference. I was an anxious train wreck before. Also just signed up at BJJ Dojo. Bro, let's hear it. Excellent. God bless, brother. I'm so happy. And thank you for that $10. Let me know how it goes. People go, well, I'm going to be a white belt in BJJ. Dude, so am I. But even then, like a white belt, 3 months of BJJ, you could destroy someone who has not grappled before in a ground fight. Destroy them. 3 months of going 2, 3 times a week, you are going to dominate that. Imagine how good you are at 2 years when you get your blue belt. There's this myth that, white belts don't know much. I've watched white belts absolutely destroy people. All right, Jonathan Kelly, 265, $20. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Ubi's usually right, but Ubi needs correction on the cigar question. Use this to the Davidoff signature series fun. Some guys like cigars. I've smoked cigars. I'm not a fan of them. I don't. I think that like when I was in my 20s, I smoked a fair amount of them, maybe 30, 40. To be honest with you, I like cigarettes more, but every year I have a couple cigarettes, couple few. I had some cigars sitting in my truck for 2 years, gave them to a buddy of mine who actually does like them, and he legitimately likes them. I think what's happened for me is I've seen so many dudes use cigars as part of their performative masculinity, Fred, that it's just ruined it for me. A lot of these like super fake dudes, voice of reason. They love smoking these cigars and pretending that they're big, tough dudes. In reality, they're just some whiny little dude who's living a double life. Matt Fradd is a big cigar smoker. Matt Fradd is not what I would consider masculine in any way, shape, or form. By the way, William Albrecht recently contacted me. He's like, He's like, "Would you care to go on Pints with Aquinas for a debate?" I'm like, if you set up a group email that has a Pints with Aquinas coordinator in it, then we can talk about this." Matt Frad said that if I just set it up with you, then we can do it later. And I'm just thinking, I'm not going to spend an hour wasting my time trying to set up a debate that probably is not going to happen because he's backed out of previous ones. So, "Oh, my grandmother is sick." Like, "My mother is sick." Oh, it's like, it's if you're real about this, set up a chain email so that we can, or a group email. If not, I'm not going to waste my time planning for a debate that I don't think has been approved by Frad. I don't even know if I go back on that channel simply because um, I feels like it'd be a lot of antics. I don't know. I might. I might. Okay, so let's rehearse. I keep going over these points again and again so that they work their way into your brain. Make friends with women to whom you have no romantic interest. Get your attention span up. Be an interesting person by having interesting experiences. Your life is far too easy. Get things that are difficult and take struggle. I mean, look, there's a lot of days I don't want to go to the dojo. A lot of days. And I go anyway. You do it. It's just what it is. Okay. Sometimes you gotta tell your I mean, look, I mean, there have been days where I thought I was gonna vomit because like, don't eat within 2 hours of going to the don't, like, 2 hours before. You vomit on that mat, you're nobody's friend that day, that week, that month, you're nobody's friend. You vomit on it, oof. Okay, conversation skills, conversation skills, conversation skills. Sorry, that's 5. Get your anxiety under control. Okay. Um, one of the things that I found also I should add for getting anxiety under control is prioritize what's important to you. Not not in some sort of ethereal, like, generic, um, like, "Oh, family is important to me." Like, no, like, in actual, like, things going on right then, very tangible things. That's the thing. Stay in reality. Stay with what's tangible. Don't try and keep it in this world of we're not in Plato's world of forms. We're very much in the touchable, tangible, that we're experiencing, and so if you're super anxious about something, what I tend to do is I go, "Okay, what can I do to solve this?" If I can do something to solve it, I go solve it. If I can't do anything to solve it, I accept that I cannot solve it, and I just simply immerse myself in the next goal to drown out any anxiety about that thing. And as you do this more and more, you become better at it, and that's what you have to do. So I'm finding that so many of you guys get anxious, you get paralyzed, and you just go on Discord and you spend hours on Discord. You spend hours doom scrolling on X. You don't you're totally lost. You don't know how to organize yourselves. And that's why I think that things like language courses with people are so good because if you have to be accountable to another person, it forces you to stay organized. I don't think AI is ever taking that stuff over. I think AI, to be honest with you, I think AI is 21st century alchemy. I think it's a load of shit. I don't think it's taking over all our jobs. I think most of the layoffs are due to companies overhiring and they're AI washing it. Um, I mean, my phone still doesn't autocorrect THR to THE. I'm not impressed. Okay. Number 7, understand what women want versus what they say they want. Okay. So women say they want one thing. Don't ever believe that. They don't know what they want. Even if they do, they will say what they think others want. So this is something important. Women don't really have opinions. What they have are their perception of what they think wider society wants them to say. That's what they have. They don't really have opinions per se. It's just, well, what does wider society want me to say? They're very easily programmable in that way. So stop believing what women say they want and start looking at who and what they actually go for. So they go for the guys who are not like super good looking, but just okay looking. They're in decent shape. They have really good communication skills, so good conversation skills. And these guys have ambitions that they're turning into realities. So again, don't talk about how you want to homestead. Take steps to make that happen. Are you learning how to actually farm? Okay. Like maybe you need to set up a small garden to see if you actually can farm. Well, I don't have land. Okay. See if you have a friend who, they have some extra land and they'll let you set up a 20 by 20 garden for a season. You can rent the land. I mean, there's community gardens, things like that. Um, but yeah, it's how a man looks, like face wise, like all this like looks maxing shit. It's a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. And a lot of the looks maxing thing, it's really ultimately just it's the transformer ideology. They just tried to make it for straight people. That's all it is. The whole bone crushing thing and like screwing with your eyes and whatnot. What women care more about is, are you in good shape? And this is borne out again and again, statistics from, say, speed dating, who women will actually go on dates with after that. It's not the height thing, it's the in shape. That's really important. And then the strong communication skills. Do you have good conversation skills? Are you an interesting person to talk to and listen to? Are you a person who shows interest in the people to whom you're talking? That's really important. Maybe you're not interested in that person, and let's face it, it's a lot of people, it's hard to be interested in them, but can you feign it? A lot of life is just feigning social skills. Like, it's just faking social skills until you make it. I have a friend, Dan, he has an IQ of 155. 140 is genius level, okay? You would never ever know talking to Dan that he's not interested in you. And keep in mind that for Dan, his IQ is 155, average IQ is 100. For him to talk to you is the equivalent of you to have a conversation with someone who has Down syndrome. You'd never know that Dan is bored out of his mind talking to you. Okay. If someone with an IQ that high, that obnoxiously high, if they can make you think that they're interested in you, okay, when them talking to you is equivalent to you talking to someone with Down syndrome, that guy is almost 4 standard deviations above normal. So imagine what 4 standard deviations below normal, okay? So if that guy, if he can talk to someone like you and make you think that he's interested in what you have to say, and it's for him, like you talking to someone with Down syndrome, you can certainly pretend that you're interested in what women are saying. Okay. The six pack, six figures, 6 foot. Women tend to latch onto material standards in the absence of personality traits that they find attractive. So women are like most people, they like to be entertained. So why would they hang out with you if you're boring? When you ask women, what do you like? They don't really, I mean, they don't think in terms of objective. I mean, when you ask women like objective standards about anything, it's always hilarious. Whether it's spatial reasoning, whether it's how much money do you think you need, whether it's how much they have no clue, no clue at all. And the more you hang out with women, the more you realize this. Don't ask them, you know, anything like objective standards about anything. Yeah, I mean, this room behind me here, my mom for a female, she's actually a pretty good driver. She can parallel park decently, not as well as me, but she can parallel park. And I'm an okay parallel parker for a guy. But my skills have gone down since moving to Nevada because everyone parks with like 3 extra feet. Seattle, they were really good. But you ask my mom, how wide is this room? She'd look at it, she'd be like, 16 feet. I walked into this room and I could tell right away it was about 11 and a half. I measured it. It was 11 feet, 5 inches. Okay. Don't ask women objectives. Don't ask them to give numerical values to things. It never works. How much money do you think you need to have like, a decent life? Oh, it's like, 500,000. No, you don't. You don't need that much. No. How much does a good vacation cost? Oh, $10,000. It's like, well, the one you just went on cost 1,200 and you loved it. Oh, that was it? Like they don't know. Um, so again, women tend to latch onto these objective standards when they're forced into a position of latching onto them. The fact is that when a woman meets a guy who's funny and he has good conversation skills, she doesn't really care that he's 5'8". She sees he's in good shape. She doesn't really care that he doesn't make six figures. She doesn't really care that he drives a kind of beat up car. What she realizes is the guy makes her feel very happy because women don't remember what happened. They remember how they felt when that thing was happening. So she feels very happy. She feels very joyous because he's making her laugh. He's connecting with her. He's bonding with her, right? He's showing that empathy when she talks. Okay. Um, and back to the spatial reasoning thing, women say 6 feet because they don't know how tall that is. If you ask women to draw 6 feet on a wall, like, yeah, go up to that wall and mark where you think 6 feet is. You'd probably get like 6'8". They have to get a step ladder to reach what they think 6 feet is. It's like they have no clue. I mean, I've watched like even like female electricians on construction sites. It's like, how long is that light? Like lights are standard like 4 feet. They're like, or you ask you how long something is, it's next to a light that's like 4 feet. Standard length for lights for those tubes is 4 feet. And they're looking at this thing next to the 4 foot light, and you're thinking, like, that's probably like 5 feet. And they're like, 7 feet. They have no clue. Um, so the other thing is, I hear from men all the time, you have no idea how bad Gen Z women are. Like, I interact with them all the time. They come and talk to me constantly because I give off dad vibes and I can talk to people. And, they just want a friendly conversation for the most part. And that's really what you should be aiming for with women is friendly conversations. And they just come off as, again, like a blander version of millennial women. And, like you guys are like, oh, but they're so bad. It's like, dude, as millennials, like we had millennial women, like turbo horoscopes. I think what you guys have as Gen Z is you have more of like the turbo like, so like there's a Wehrmacht and then there's like the SS, right? Like millennial women were all sort of Wehrmacht. Whereas like Gen Z women, there's most more Wehrmacht, but you also have like the SS in terms of horoscopes. But you also have the conscientious objectors, right? Who wouldn't join at all, right? So I mean that's what you have in Gen Z women. You have a lot more flavors, so to say, in terms of sexual behavior. Whereas millennial women, they just yeah. Uh, I hear the other thing is I hear these guys say, "Well, my priest says I should be virtuous and I'll get a wife," and it's like you need to be virtuous for your sake. You need to be virtuous because it grounds you and it makes you a person who is stable. Because ultimately in a relationship, women are they're like a wave. You have to be that breakwater to her storm. The breakwater is as like sort of like peninsulas that are built out with rocks. The storm crashes against it. You got to be unmoved. You got to be someone who isn't rattled. And that's the thing I find with you guys. You get rattled by women. You get really like, oh, she's upset. It's like, yeah, she's upset again. So they're always upset about something. You have to be the stabilizing force. You have to be that breakwater to her storm. And women are always shit testing you. They're always testing the boundaries. If you've seen the film Jurassic Park, there's that scene where they have the Australian dude and they're above the raptor cage. The Australian dude is like, it's like the Raptors they're testing the fence. And so he's like, well, they're testing the fence, and so yeah, they never test it in the same place twice. Now, I'm not saying that raptors are smarter than women, but raptors never test the same place twice. Women will test the same place 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, right? They'll push every single one of your buttons to try and get a response out of you to see where you stand on things. This is why I said most of the things women say are not meant to be responded to. You just go, oh, okay. You're not agreeing with her, you're just acknowledging she said it. And a lot of it, you shouldn't even say that. You should just not even just you didn't even hear it. I mean, it's so much of it is just thrown out there to see what you're gonna do. That's all they're really doing. It's not that women shit test once in a while, it's that the whole day is just repeated minor shit tests. And the more insecure a woman is, the more she does it. And by the way, you wanna know some insecure women? Beautiful women. Beautiful women are really insecure. They are really insecure. So if you get a really beautiful woman, they're gonna shit test you a lot more, okay? So, again, you need to be virtuous for your own sake, and, you know, what gets you a woman's marriage material, or just in general, is being assertive, being dominant, being a provider with an interesting personality, and having good interpersonal skills. Being virtuous just makes it so that you don't get sucked into her bullshit, and women have a lot of antics, a lot. 5, this is one that we got last time. I can get dates easily, but I cannot find a woman who is marriage material. We had this guy he emailed in last time, and this is what he kept saying. He goes to a Greek parish, and when I read his email, I kinda thought he was a whiner, and then I saw his comments in the chat, and it was just him whining the whole time. "This is Catherine 2.0. This is insane. It's like I emailed him, he didn't even read my email." Just a whiny guy, just some whiny dude. "I have a good job, but, like, the women are just party animal." The guy's a complete whiner. I could tell by the email. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Um, and so, I was polite, though, in how I responded to his email, but, you know, you just tell these whiny guys, this is why the guy can't get a woman. So, um, if you can get dates, but you can't find a woman who's marriage material, who's the common denominator? Just saying, you know? Um, so, if you're not able to turn even one date into a relationship that becomes marriage, you need to ask why you are attracting women that are not marriage material. Okay. So, women who are marriage material want a relationship, and relationships take strong interpersonal skills, good, strong conversation skills, the ability to show empathy, the ability to listen. And men here listen and they think, well, scan it for data and information. So, no, that's not how what women understand listening as. They understand it as scanning it for empathy and opportunity to show empathy and bond through that sort of co-happiness, co-sorrow, co-concern, whatever. Um, that's what women who are marriage material are looking for. They're looking for a guy who's a leader. He's assertive, he's dominant without being rude, and he has strong interpersonal skills, and he's not in bad shape. He's in decent shape. And, if you're a guy who you have a nice sports car and you wear, expensive watches and dress really nicely, you're going to attract a certain breed of woman. If you're a guy who prides yourself on how much you make and you're telling every person you meet and you're really into status, you're going to attract a woman who's really hunting status. And those are the gold diggers. Whereas if you're a guy who exudes interpersonal skills, gold diggers are not really into interpersonal skills. They want to get to the money. They wanna jump right into bed so they can get access to the money. Women who are marriage material, they want strong interpersonal skills. They want someone who looks like they want a real relationship. And if you're not giving off those vibes of, "I want a real relationship," you're never gonna attract a woman who's marriage material. Proof that you're not giving off those, "I have strong proof that you're not giving off the, 'I want a relationship' vibes is the fact that you're not attracting women who are marriage material. Because women who are marriage material, they can smell that from a long way away. They can tell right away. They talk to a dude within 30 seconds, 45 seconds. They can tell, does this guy have the kind of interpersonal skills? What happens with a lot of these guys is they go, well, I can get dates. It's, yeah, you're dealing with a gold digger. She thinks, okay, he'll take me on a date and go to a nice restaurant, have some good drinks, some delicious food, drive around in a nice car. Okay, next. Women who are marriage mature are not into that. They want to know, like, is this going to be an enjoyable conversation? Is this someone who I want to bond with through a conversation? And if you don't have those personality skills, you're not going to attract women who are marriage material. It's just that simple. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of guys. They go, I'm doing everything right. It's like, okay. They go, well, I have the good job. I'm in good shape. Like one of my friends, guy's in phenomenal shape. He can't figure out why women are not into him, why they keep ghosting him. And it's like, dude, you're way too intense. I mean, way too intense. He's also doing steroids right now, which makes him really aggressive. He's scary looking because he's just so bulky and big. He's really intense. He's a super friendly guy. I love him. But this is why he's really intense. And it scares women. Guy looks like the Hulk. In terms of build, he's not green, okay, but in terms of like build, he looks like the Hulk. So again, women who want marriage, they want a relationship. Relationships require strong interpersonal skills. If you don't have those strong interpersonal skills, you're not going to get women who are marriage material. They're going to sniff it out right away. They're going to figure it out, right? Go back to that story from the last live stream about Dmitry Baklavopoulos. And again, Baklavopoulos is not a real name. Okay, Baklavapolis, Baklava City. It's a made-up name, just like Souvlakides. Souvlaki's a meat sandwich. Okay, so it's okay. Same with Deborah Scheckelberg. It's a made-up name. Okay, but go back to that last live stream where I talked about Dmitry Baklavopoulos. Okay, hey Dmitry, how you doing? Good. What'd you do this weekend? Not much. What are you gonna do this weekend? Hard to tell. Guy couldn't get a date. He had chiseled jaw, chiseled muscles, worked out constantly. Good-looking guy, always dressed nice suits. This guy's average suit was nicer than any suit I've ever owned. Could not get a date. Walk up to women, and 45 seconds later, they're walking away. No social skills. None. Guess what? The dude in our parish with like the large nose and the gut who's balding, who doesn't make much, women fawn over this guy. Why? Amazing conversation skills. You can't talk to that dude whose name I won't mention. You can't talk to that guy without feeling like he's interested in what you're about to say. You're just like you're like, oh, I'm gonna get some food now, and he's like, really? What like really, I think I should get some food too. That's a great idea. And you're like, yeah, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You're using those phenomenal interpersonal skills. Okay. And that guy, he's engaged. He's getting married. It's with women. It's not like guys think of it like, well, there's a silver bullet to get women. No, it's like an entire clip. It's like an entire clip of silver bullets. Yeah, you have to have a decent job. You don't have to have a great one. You have to have a decent job. You have to be in decent shape. You have to take care of how you look, groom. Don't grow these ridiculous beards. Trim your facial hair. Look nice. Get a haircut, okay? You have to have very strong interpersonal skills, very strong conversation skills, listening skills. You have to make women feel like you're interested in what they're saying, which is oftentimes really difficult. I mean, really difficult. But feign it. Feign it, okay? There you go. All right, let's go back in. We got some more super chats. I can tell you guys are killing it with the super chats today. I love it. You guys are great. Okay. Ooh. Let's see what else we got. Someone commented women are raptors. All right, there we go. Always ask questions they will give long answers to. Yes, correct. Um, uh, Nick Fuentes needs to study how Ubi moves his hands like a man so he can pass as a heterosexual. A lot of that is just the fact that I've grown up around tradesmen. I'm a seventh generation tradesman, so I've just grown up around men. And you have to show dominance with your hands and create space, and you just pick it up over time. Okay, so there you go. We're gonna go on to the 8th point. You got to be realistic. You guys, like Gen Z guys, a lot of you really live in Plato's world of forms. Part of that's just being a younger guy. Reality has not crushed you yet. I remember being very idealistic about situations, and it's like, God, why are all these older guys just like they don't see how great things could be? And the answer is because they've just seen situations go sideways so many times that they've adjusted their expectations for reality. So be realistic. One, be less picky. Um, you will develop attraction as time goes by. Immediate attraction does exist, and we've all experienced it numerous times, but long lasting attraction develops with proximity. So, one of my friends, he tried online dating for a long time, and we'll get into that in a minute. He got introduced to a woman recently, and at first he wasn't like terribly attracted to her. But after a couple months, he suddenly became very attracted to her. And the reason is that there's that aura effect. So much of our attraction, just if we actually long lasting are drawn to, is based on personality. I mean, we have to be around this person. We have to find them endearing in some way. I mean, maybe, I mean, and you can find a lot of things endearing. I know a guy who's married to a very beautiful woman who she has a very bad temper, and he finds her temper sort of endearing. It's very cute, how he talks about it. The other thing is that, you guys, you turn your noses up if the woman isn't super good looking. And I'm just thinking like, okay, maybe your nose is a little big, or okay, maybe your laugh's a little annoying. Sure. But over time, you're going to not mind that at all because you're going to be overwhelmed by her personality, by the fact that you get along so well together, that you share certain things in common. Um, and you don't have to share a lot of things in common. This is another thing. So my wife and I, we are from radically different cultures. She grew up in Syria. I grew up in America. We have different, uh, we'll just say, religious backgrounds. We'll leave it at that. Although we are both Orthodox Christians, and or now Orthodox Christians. But what do we really get along with? About what do we share in common? Well, both of us really like languages, but do we even really like the same languages? No. My wife has never ever asked me about ancient Greek. She has no interest in it. Zero. None. But we both like studying Turkish. It was a lot of fun. We both like Arabic language. It was really fun. Um, we both really enjoy cooking. She's much better at it than I am. We have a relationship that's complementary. I'm very much the workhorse bringing in money. My wife is very domestic. I'm very lucky, very fortunate. I'm very blessed to have that very domestic wife who does a phenomenal job caring for the children. We have the same attitudes towards parenting. Um, we're both people who tremendously value the unity of the family. But most importantly is that her and I, we turn towards each other to find solutions. And so, yeah, my wife has never even asked me, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? Because my wife might go weeks without ever thinking of the Roman Empire, maybe months. She has really no interest in history, right? She's really into health food. She's really into, exercising. But we both do like languages. We have similar ways of doing things. We have similar means of showing affection for each other, right? Through words, through spending time, through acts of service, things like that. I appreciate the things that she does. She appreciates the things that I do. She wants a man who leads, who's assertive, who provides for the family. I want a woman who's very domestic, who cares very much for the children. Um, and so we're complementary. And a lot of the time, the people who you end up with, they're not the person who you had written out on paper when you had to idealize it. And this is the male version of women unable to determine what 6 foot is that guys go, "Well, I want one was this, that, and da 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 da." And it's like they end up with someone totally not like that because the person they listed out is really more a function of what their friends told them they should like. And it's not a person they're compatible with. You have to look at yourselves as puzzle pieces. You fit together. Okay. Um, so, attraction, just hang out with women. You're gonna notice you find them attractive over time. And this is also there's a danger in this though. This is how workplace crushes start because of this. Now I'm lucky because my wife is a homemaker. And then when she does work, she has a once in a while she'll work and it's mostly with children. Um, and then me, most of the people I work with are senior citizens, so there's definitely no crushes going on there. But that idea of proximity, this is why workplace crushes start because you're working with people on something. There have been studies done about how if you work on a project with someone, say even a puzzle, feelings of attraction begin to develop at certain points. So when you problem solve with someone, you start with someone of the opposite sex, you start to feel attracted to them, is what occurs. Okay. Um, the problem, and this is something that I'll be honest, I just do not have a solution to this whatsoever. And so if you have solutions to this, put them in the comments. This one I'm about to mention, and that is there are less men in college. The workplace is not a safe place to date. Church has a limited number of women. So where do you go to find women and interact with women? And the answer is I don't know. I don't. I mean, the best you could do is get a young adult group started between parishes. The thing is that a lot of the women, once they realize that the men are like treating it like a meat market, the women stop going. Um, I don't have a solution to this. I don't know what to do. I mean, trying to date your coworkers, man, that is some dangerous stuff there. That is very dangerous, not just in getting the date set up, but or finding out if she's even attracted to you, but then if it goes sideways, ugh, a lot of companies have policies against dating as well. So that's not a safe place. There's less dudes in college, and a lot of the women that go off to college are just not marriage material to begin with. But I mean, yeah, if you have solutions, put them, what's worked out for you, put them in the comments. I will say this that if you're a guy and people at your parish are not introducing you to women, it's because they don't think that you're ready to get married. When they think you're ready to get married, they will start introducing you to women. They will find them from wherever. Okay. Um, so there you go. The other thing is that, and this is something that I'll say, I was warned not to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because I can't resist. And that is if you're having a hard time talking to women and they're just shutting you down, let's say you're a white guy. Okay, white women don't think that you're that big of a deal. Okay. But let's say you go talk to, like, say, black chicks or Asian girls or Latinas. Well, suddenly in those cultures, snagging a white guy is a major status upgrade. So I'm not saying that they're going to like just fall all over you, but they're going to be probably going to be a lot less hostile towards you. They're gonna be more flattered by you trying to talk to them. That's a big status upgrade in these communities. Light skin's a big deal in most communities. Um, Plus, those cultures tend to be a little more extroverted. Latinos and blacks are more extroverted, so a lot easier to just have a conversation. Just practice talking. Practice talking, right? Okay. Um, Dating apps are not meant to get you married. They're not. If you meet someone on there and you get married, the dating app loses 2 customers. They're not in the business of putting themselves out of business. So, you hear these horror stories about dating apps, And yeah, they're true. It's because the people that go on dating apps, I mean, gone are the days of people who were just busy and they were maybe older, they just wanted to find someone who maybe they were widowed, maybe they're divorced. And back in the day, yeah, I think you could find a lot of good people on dating apps. I know a couple people, relatives who did, and it worked for them, but I think that that's largely gone. The dating apps now are the people who they don't have the social skills to meet people in person. So why are they on a dating app? Why? Because they don't have the social skills to meet people in person. Um, they are typically workaholics, so they don't have time to meet people in person. The person who was recommended to them by their grandmother wasn't good enough. The person recommended to them by their brother wasn't good enough. The person recommended to them by the people at church, or by their godmother wasn't good enough. The people at church weren't good enough. That's why they're on a dating app. You're getting like the really bottom of the bucket, picky people, and that's one of the reasons they don't work out. The other is that the dating companies they don't want you to do well. They lose customers through it. And anecdotally, from a couple of friends who recently gave up on them, um, they said that based off of their experience, this is two friends who recently spent a couple years on dating apps, didn't find anyone. Um, Both of them, though, are now in relationships with people who were introduced to them by friends. Okay. Um, these two guys said that probably 50% of the female profiles were scammers trying to get money out of you. They'd hit you up for money pretty quickly, or they'd try and develop relationships, and then you go to meet. Oh, I have to cancel. Oh, I need money. Um, so it's really like a cesspool. It's not real people. It's a certain demographic. It's sort of like saying you're going to meet someone at a casino. Well, you're going to find a very specific demographic of people in a casino, gamblers, and gamblers have a very specific set of personality traits. Well, it's the same, I think, with dating apps. The other thing, stop saying you want a woman who's funny. Stop. One, women are not funny in general. Um, Two, the handful of women I've ever met who I'd consider were funny, they're insane. They're absolutely nuts. There's this, I mean, the mood swings on these women are extreme, even for women. They have this, they'll be laughing, everyone will be having a good time, and then all of a sudden they just stop. And there's this attitude of, you should have been gone 15 minutes ago. What the hell are you still doing here? Kind of, and you're just like, whoa, okay. Oh, didn't know things had changed 15 minutes ago before you stopped being funny 1 minute ago. I mean, just absolute roller coaster moods. You don't want a woman who's funny. And there's a very good reason why women are not funny. It's because humor is very destabilizing. And women, their whole brain, their whole psyche is geared towards raising children. And you do not want a destabilized situation with children. It's dangerous. It doesn't make people feel safe. Humor. Little kids tend to not get it, right? Um, the other thing is I hear guys go, "Well, go marry foreign women," and I'm just like, "Oof, okay." If you cannot handle American women, so first off, American women are kind of pushovers. It's my experience, especially white women, they're pushovers. And if you can't handle American women, foreign women will bulldoze you. They will absolutely bulldoze you. The reason is that a lot of these women come from countries where the culture is extremely chauvinistic, or there's not any legal protections for women in these cultures. So the women learn to stand up for themselves. And there's this image of like Arab women as like very, demure or no. I mean, imagine like if you're from the Greek community, I mean, would you describe Greek women as like demure or like Italians? No. Um, these women are tough as nails. They don't take crap off anyone. They stand up for themselves. They stake out their territory right away. Um, Foreign women are the people that you date when you want a challenge in dating. Um, that's just my general observation. Okay. Again, okay, so we're on point 8. We have 9 and 10. Real quick advert here. Again, I'm thinking about teaching Arabic and Coptic on Patreon, YouTube memberships. If you guys are interested, email me. My email will be in the video description. I'm thinking about starting in autumn. I'd be teaching Arabic, Levantine dialect, which is what you're going to hear spoken. It's a dialect that would be understood and you would easily be able to understand Lebanese, Syrians, Palestinians, Jordanians. Um, Coptic, people are interested. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Okay. Let's go back through all of these one more time to refresh your memory so it pounds its way to your head. You need to make friends with women towards whom you have absolutely no romantic interest. That's the first step. 2, get your attention span up. 3, be an interesting person with interesting experiences. Okay, remember what is interesting. Not talking about theology, not talking about video games, not talking about cars. No, things are personal, about things you've done that are interesting to the general population. Maybe you don't have anything interesting to talk about. Well, go have interesting experiences. Your life is far too easy. Do things that are difficult. Get into that dojo, get into that weight room. Do things that are hard that you really don't like doing simply because you need suffering. Take that cold shower on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Maybe that's your thing. I don't know. Maybe it's every day. Conversation skills, conversation skills, conversation skills, conversation skills, conversation skills. Can't say that enough. Again, I'd like to offer like a live stream course where I bring people in person, and I just basically coach you on how to have conversations because I'm not going to lie, I'm really good at it. I can talk to people who almost certainly went on to join ISIS. I can talk to Israeli settlers. I can talk to rabid feminists. I can talk to whomever. I can have conversations with whomever. It's very easy to do. You just have to have someone give you pointers and build up. It's a formula, really. Number 6, get your anxiety under control. Number 7, understand what women want versus what they say they want. And again, this can be really hard to figure out what women want because of their cycle. So their behaviors and how they're going to react to different things change at different times of the month. So you might do the right thing at the wrong time, or you might do the wrong thing at the right time. And so you have to see as a baseline in general. Also, talk to married men. Married men are the ones who have dated successfully. You guys, I don't know why the hell you guys do this. You're trying to get dating advice from other dudes who are dating. I mean, that's the blind leading the blind. You want to get advice from guys who have dated successfully. You go, well, Gen Z women are totally different. No, they're not. I talk to them regularly. They're not. I mean, if anything, they're just blander versions of millennial women. But women want the same thing again and again and again. They want an assertive, dominant male who's a leader, who's confident, who has good interpersonal communication skills, good grooming habits. Okay. It's not a silver bullet that gets women. It's a clip of bullets. Okay. All right. Be realistic. Be realistic about your expectations. I find a lot of these guys, I introduce them to women and they're just, she's not really my type. I think she looks fine. I mean, once you get past like women are extremely streamlined in their behavior. They don't have the variety that men have. And so that makes women in a way much easier to deal with. They're much more predictable in how they'll behave. So, I mean, you open one box, you open two, you open three, you open four, chances are they're going to be more or less the same. Okay. And the other thing is that women are very much formed by the men in their lives. I mean, that's the most significant factor. Okay, if you want a woman who's good, who's marriage material, get a woman who has a good relationship with her father. Not just, yeah, like my dad, but one who views her dad as a provider who was a strong male figure. Maybe she didn't necessarily like him, but she still can acknowledge that he has he was an excellent provider, that he provided boundaries, right? Women rarely like the people who give them boundaries. Short term, they don't like them, but long term, they like them. Okay, women are like teenagers. They're teenagers in adult bodies. They need boundaries. They need you to say no. And they don't even necessarily need you to explain why. More often than not, when they're trying to get you to explain why you're saying no, it's just them trying to draw it out and suck you into their antics. More often than not, it's just better to go, no, and then turn around. Well, I'm going to do whatever. Women bluff constantly. They're total bluffers. They I'll leave. Okay, leave. Go. Get the hell out of here. I mean, they need to know the problem is that, women are this way. They've always been this way. Read Aristotle. Aristotle says the same thing about women that guys are saying now. The difference is that women were held in and constrained in a system built by strong men. And strong men, now men are very weak. And so the levees have broken. This is why the solution to the problem is not telling women what to do from like your parish priest. It's having strong men. It's bringing back really strong men. Women will change for strong men. Strong men make things change. Just standing there and telling women, you need to settle for this dude who has no social skills and bad grooming habits. It's not going to fix the problem. It's getting men strong again, because those are the ones that hold the men. Strong men are like or I should say rather men. Women are like a river or like water, so to say, and men are like the riverbanks. As long as those riverbanks are made out of granite, that river is going in a very predictable path. But the moment that you make those riverbanks out of, say, clay, the river runs course, or the river runs off course. It breaks its levee, it floods areas. And that's what we're in right now. We have banks made of clay because men are so weak. They can't say no to women. It's unbelievable. They're terrified what will happen if they just say no to women. I think you should be terrified what's going to happen when you don't say no to women. I think you should have a certain number of no's you have to say to a female each week. General life advice. When you're 19 to 22, your life feels aimless, and you won't realize it until you're 30, but 19 to 22 were the worst years of your life. They're the worst years of your life, hands down. Maybe, I mean, for me, 22 was the up point, and then life just got better and better and better and better. And by the way, my 40s so far the best decade of my life by far. Super enjoyable, content. But 19 to 22, those are just super shitty years. Really awful. I mean, you're showing up at like a Denny's restaurant or a Sherry's. Sherry's is one on the West Coast. You'll find a lot. Like a Denny's or a Sherry's, like 2 a.m. You're kind of tipsy. You're with some friends. They don't have any lemon meringue pie, so you settle for like the coconut cream pie. But like, wait, is it cheaper to buy like a whole coconut cream pie because there's like 6 of us? Who wants pie? Well, I could have like half a piece. What, man? Well, you're trying to scrounge out cash. Okay, I have enough money for like a whole pie. Then you're walking around with your friends holding half a pie, just like, what am I gonna do with this? Like, I mean, this is, then you go back to like, your parents' house or your crappy apartment or whatever. You go into school and you have like some restaurant job you just absolutely hate, doing construction on the weekends, wondering why you don't have more money to actually buy separate pieces of pie at a Sherry's at 2 a.m. Really just a pointless time in your life, 19 to 22. You won't realize until you're 30, though. I think for a lot of Gen Z, though, that 19 to 22 is just extended out into the late 20s. And I think that it's really extended further out because a lot of you are not having romantic relationships with women. Having to like up yourself to be attractive to women, it makes you mature a lot. And when I say attractive, I'm not talking about this looks maxing bullshit. I'm talking about personality, attractive personality to women. It makes you mature a lot. I think what's really happened is just like it feels for you guys like life never really started. It's like, yeah, It never did. You've been allowed to be slackers. You've been given no boundaries. You've had no mentorship. And again, if you're in Las Vegas and you're like, "I need mentorship," I'll be your mentor. I'll be your Sherpa. I'll be your Sherpa up this Mount Everest. If you're not in Las Vegas, go to your parish priest. I mean, find some dudes who are like 10 years older than you. Don't go for like old dudes with white hair. If you go for like guys with white hair, they just end up being another mother to you. And that's not what you need. You need someone to yell at you. You need someone who's really going to ride you hard, which is what your parents should have done. If you grown up in the 50s, you guys idolize the 50s. You grown up in the 50s, the way people talk to each other then, oh my Lord. Even in the 60s and 70s. I mean, my dad was born in 60, and he told me that his dad used to say things to him like, "Go play out in the highway." Um, my dad was a rough dude, though. He's a tradesman. His name for me when he got upset was, bleeping R word. That was his name for me, and he yelled it. I mean, you guys have not had people ride you and expect much out of you in measurable, concrete ways. Instead, it's just this constant, like, soft aspersion of you're evil because you're a white male. And it's like, well, how do I fight against this? Do I argue with the teacher? Like, okay, well, I can't get into corporate America, and nor should you want to. Corporate America is a dump. But you guys need things that actually are hard, that build you up over time. Okay. Um, Another thing, just general life advice. You're happiest when you have a purpose. And maybe your purpose is getting through a breakup and finding a better girlfriend who is marriage material. Okay. Maybe you've been a total thought. Maybe as a dude, you've been a horoscope. You probably should just accept that you belong with a woman who's been a horoscope too. I mean, um, a friend of mine is a dude who he lived the gay lifestyle for a long time. Um, he's engaged now to a woman. He's not lived the gay lifestyle for like 10 years, I think. And he's marrying this woman, and he was like, yeah, she's been with a lot of guys. And I'm like, well, that's something you both have in common. Um, Even he had to laugh at that. So, but I mean, maybe it's finding a girlfriend who is marriage material, getting through a breakup, finding a woman who's marriage material. Okay. Um, Maybe it's becoming a man who would attract women who are marriage material. Maybe it's finishing your schooling or training. Maybe it's saving enough money for that 6-month stint in a foreign country. And people ask, well, why do you keep pushing jujitsu? Why do you keep pushing going abroad? Why do you keep pushing construction jobs? It's like, these are tough things. These are things that work for me, but these are tough, difficult things that will force you into they will put you more into the mindset of overcoming adversity in a productive way. Whereas I think what you guys have really learned to do is just to curl up into a ball on the floor and think about how you would beat these people up who are kicking you, but you're still just taking kicks. I think that's sort of the a good illustration for how a lot of you have formed. It's, yeah, I'm being crapped on by society left and right, but there's not anything you can really fight against to overcome. So you just sort of curl into a ball and let society kick you while you fantasize about beating up these bad guys, but you can never really do anything about it. Um, and it's I mean, you're talking to a white guy who grew up in Seattle. All the weird stuff you see in society now, that was commonplace in Seattle in the early 2000s. I mean, I made it. Okay. I made it. I went to university, they had safe spaces. I was constantly told about how being, a woman's place is anywhere she wants to be. Men have held women down. The patriarchy is evil. I'm an OG. Name whatever thing, and I can't say this because I don't want to be demonetized, but name whatever mean label the left likes to put on white men, and I'm an OG that. Okay. I walked so you guys could run, right? Let's just put it that way. I mean, I if you haven't been able to tell yet, I'm very chauvinistic. I'm an OG chauvinist. I'm an OG, name whatever the things the left loves to say about white men that are negative. I'm an OG that. Okay. So you can do it. You can make it. I believe in you guys. And again, just the only way that I've found to deal with stressful situations, I want to reiterate this, is either resolve the actual issue somehow or just accept that you can't and then move on to something else and focus all your attention on that one thing. That's it. I don't know of any other way to do things. That's all I can give you. I wish I could give you more in terms of life advice, but life advice is usually pretty simple. When you get really complicated life advice, it's usually not good. Sometimes you just need people to flesh it out for you so you understand it better. And if you want points fleshed out, comment below. And if you're don't just be like, what do you mean by do hard things? Like, no. Say, timestamp whatever you said ABC. I understand you to mean da 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 da. Is this correct? Or something like that. Give me something to work with, right? Practice your conversation skills in those comments. And if you have good things to say, I'll interact with them. If it's just some retarded comment, I'm not interacting with that. Okay. Now 10, closing. I'm thinking in the next month or so, maybe in the next few weeks, I will do a live stream on how to travel abroad because this is something I'm asked about regularly. How do you get abroad? How does this happen? I don't have the money to do that. Well, neither did I. Okay. Of course, my advice I'll give you is about 13 years old, but it's still principles to go on, and I'll just have some stories, some interesting stories of what life was like, things that you can expect in different areas. Thinking about that, show a lot of pictures of my travels. And then finally, I want to, what are things that you want me to do live streams on? And please don't say something like essence energies distinction. I'm not doing that. This is the last thing you guys need. You don't need more dogmatic theology. If you want dogmatic theology, there's books you can read. I get these people going, I'm really into Thomism. Can you explain essence energies? I'm like, I know you're not really into Thomism because if you were really into Thomism, you wouldn't say I'm really into Thomism. You would just assume that Thomism is reality. That's what people who are really into Thomism do. Anyway, let's do some super chats here. Can you explain some men's obsession with not doing chores? My mom does the housework, but dad does all the repair work and both do the yard work. And thank you for that $5. I mean, a lot of guys don't do many chores. I mean, for the most part, I don't. My wife, I mean, I have one of my godsons who I don't know if he's watching or not, but he is proof that I don't know how to use the dishwasher in my own home. I also don't know how to use the washer or the dryer. I'm very lucky in that regard. But my wife doesn't have to pay bills. She doesn't have to work. I handle all the oil changes and usually myself. I just do them on my cars or on the two vehicles we have. It's just you divvy up tasks, and really it should be that kids are helping the mom. And now that being said, I actually enjoy doing dishes. It's a very relaxing task. Just turn off everything. Just or maybe you have something on. I mean, maybe put some relaxing documentary. Like, I remember a while ago, I can wash the dishes, but I don't know how to use the dishwasher. It's kind of embarrassing, but I don't know, put on something interesting. Just do some dishes. Be good times. But I think a lot of it also has to do with just efficiency. It's also that women, the wife is a queen of the home. And the queen gets to decide how the home is decorated, so to say, and women tend to have higher standards for cleanliness than men. So you have that. Okay. All right. Diane Langacher, $10. Thank you. I was waiting in airport, took your advice, put my phone down and went outside. The air was delicious and the planes were huge and noisy. Thanks. No problem, Diane. It's phenomenal to hear that. Yeah, I mean, oftentimes I just stop and I just stare, outside. Allow yourself to be, bored. There was a, I'll if I remember correctly, I'll put this in the video description. There's a video with Father Mike Schmidt with a neuroscientist. He talks about the importance of being bored. Um, you effectively need it to process emotions. One of the reasons you guys have anxiety is you're not processing emotions because you're never allowing yourself to be bored. I mean, it's super refreshing. And after I finish this live stream, it's really difficult not to, like, check in and be like, "Okay, how's it doing?" Or, "Did I forget to put that video in the video description?" Which, by the way, when I forget to do that, please comment below saying, "Hey, where's the video for such and such?" Because I do read the comments. I do. Um, uh, alright, let's see what else we got here. Thank you for that super chat, by the way. I appreciate those tremendously. Man, you guys are going a lot of commenting here. Oh. Mm, I'm just skimming over these here, trying to find the super chats to thank those of you who make everything possible. Okay, here we go. T Rocco 5 199. Thank you for that. What makes a council ecumenical? Go watch. Let's see. I'm gonna do content videos. There's a video I did responding to the trailer story, Most Holy Family trailer story with the two non-monk monks who are not part of the Vatican II sect. There has not been a real pope for this long. We swear fealty to the pope. Those two dudes. Let's see, where were we here? Man, I got a lot of videos. Okay. There is this right FM. Vatican Catholic refuted on Orthodox and ecumenical councils when LARPing goes wrong. Let's see. I can't figure. Oh well, that one you want to look up. That'll give you the answer. Okay, let's keep going down through these. Ooh, missed one of these beautiful super chats. Trey Wubbles, $5. Thanks, Trey. Our parish is 1 hour, 20 minutes away. My kids are not allowed screens. Nothing better than seeing them stare out the window thinking, yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Like seeing a kid on a screen is just, it's infuriating. There's a visceral reaction. I go nuts when I see it. So, okay. So, let me know what you guys want to see more live streams on because, you know, without you guys telling me what you want to see. And please don't say like you want essence energies or you want reaction videos. Reaction videos is like the lowest tier content. I'm not creating content that you guys that I myself I'm not going to create content that I wouldn't watch myself. It's brain rot. It's stuff, it's like a tenth of a step above being in a Discord server. Like, oh, live reaction videos. No. Um, but if you guys want reading recommendations, you can ask in the comments below. I do have a list of reading recommendations. I did a live stream a while ago on books for catechism. I'm thinking the upcoming videos will be one live stream on how to travel abroad, another one on resources for learning ancient languages. Let me know what you guys would like and comment below letting me know how if this advice has if it has uh, how do I say, coalesced with what your experience has been, um, and what you think, where you think it went right, where you think it went wrong. Okay, you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Go outside, spend some time off of your screens. Please, if you want to do something, if you really want to thank me, go spend an hour off your screen today. All right, keep it real.